It's Baby and Mary, we know you have been waiting, so here's another podcast about movies Burn After Watching.
Welcome everybody to the Burn After Watching podcast, the official source of good movie opinion. I am your co-host Borderland.
I'm Mary.
Welcome to episode 2 about Napoleon, the new Ridley Scott movie. Before we talk about that, we're going to talk about everything we watched in the last 2 weeks since episode 1. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Before we get started, I'm going to explain how we're going to rank our film. What's so funny?
How are you doing? I wasn't expecting this question.
Basically, how we work, we rank our movie out of 5 with a score, but we also give it a burn or save, a rank or rating system. If it's a burn, it's not worth your time. Burn it means goon. Save it?
We loved it.
Save it
Go
to your
see
watch list. Yes. It means you should watch it. Before we get started, subscribe. Join us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We have it all. Go join us. Follow, subscribe, like, comments. Okay. The first movie we watched was The Killer
By David Fincher.
David Fincher.
Yeah.
This is a Netflix exclusive. I love this. This is one of my favorite movie of the year. I love me a dark character that is done with the world and he just doesn't give a shit. True detective vibe. He is a contract killer. He's supposedly the best. And in the first 20 minutes of this film,
shit hits the fan.
but it's just him in a room talking about life, about his job.
I liked it too. It was a good movie. Sometimes I felt his persona was a little bit cliche.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a professional killer, so he's hired by people to kill other people. And so the first 20 minutes I really liked as well, but the whole routine aspect of how he works, I understand. Not anybody can do the job, but to me it felt a little bit cliche because he repeats to himself sentences when he accomplishes what he's supposed to do.
Stick
so
to
if
the plan. Anticipate.
Yeah, I was not going to say it, but yeah. So to me, that felt a little bit cliche, but overall, it's a good story. And I agree with you. It was very unexpected and it's a very good entertainment. I was really entertained.
That fight scene in
the
Florida.
house. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was.
The music is just pumping. And the sound design, it's so heavy. It's so crazy.
It was good. I agree. Very well executed.
It could be a bit cringy if you listen to everything he says. I think the other thing he says is something like, every second 4 people are born and 1 person die. I could never do anything to even, influence those number one way or the other. Because he's a contract killer, he's killing people, so he's kind of almost justifying himself. It's like, I'm like killing one guy, like that's nothing. Like people die that's a bit cringe, but I think it's kind of this mentality that he's reinforcing. And what I like about all those things he's saying is that truly he break every rule he have for himself. You just break them all during the movie. But also something that I like is the show Don't Tell.
The what?
The director showing us things instead of telling us things. One thing that I figured out on the rewatch is that at some point he goes to FedEx and he ship a package and he asks for signature require. And the lady at the counter is like, do you want to send this overnight? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, it's going to be there in 2 days then. And then he go kill a guy, he come back, he goes to Louisiana or New Orleans, And then the FedEx guy is the guy that opened the door for him when he's after his second target, when he's dressed as a recycle man.
Oh, so that's why he knows that that guy's going to deliver the package?
Yeah, and because he asked for a signature, he couldn't just leave it there. He had to go in the door.
Oh, smart. Okay, yeah.
But we didn't catch
No.
it the first time. It's
No.
on the rewatch that I saw it, and I was like, that's so weird that he's focusing on the signature require.
Right. And that specific delivery guy.
Yeah. Is
Interesting.
opening the door for him.
And it's funny because remember when we watched the movie, you said it's weird and funny how he makes it so easy to
Yeah.
get rid of a body.
Yeah.
And I said, well, obviously there's certain amount of things that aren't told to us, like having multiple identities when he goes back to his kind of locker that
Yeah.
he rents. What is it? Like a unit that he rents?
Yeah, the rental unit.
And then you see all the different identities that he can go for, different passports, credit card. It's true that he makes it look really easy, but there's so many things that are done up front for it to be possible.
Yeah.
He's a professional.
He's prepared.
Yes. And it's really funny. There's one moment where I laughed. So he's in the elevator with the
Oh, yeah.
recycling bin, and there is an actual body
In
in
the
the bin, and workers come in the elevator, and first joke they make is, do you need a little help to get rid of that body?
Yeah.
And it's just so cringe because there is an actual body anyway. So it was kind of funny at certain moments as well.
I wish the guy came into the elevator and was like eating an apple and it was like, can I throw this in there? And then like the panic.
That would have been too much. So,
Uh,
but it was a good movie. I would save it definitely.
big save.
And to me, it's a 3.5.
Oh, it went up.
I had given it a 3 at first, and then I read a little bit more about it. I heard you yesterday rewatching a part of it, and also the music in that movie is really good. Is it composed by someone? Do we know more about the music, or
I don't know.
because it?
So the character listened to the band The Smith almost the entire movie. So
Yeah.
a lot of the soundtrack is The Smith, but I did read about the specific composer that did that like room soundtrack. It is Trent Reznor's. Never heard
It was
of him.
never heard, but it was very interesting. And is
Gone
that for other
Girl,
movies?
Social Network. He did a lot of Fincher movie.
Okay, so would you save or burn this movie?
Big save.
Big
This
save.
is top 5 of the year for me.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, in the top 5. I don't know where yet, but it's in the top 5
Wow.
safely.
And how many stars?
4 out of 5 stars for me. This is great. I'm gonna be buying that if it comes out on 4K and rewatching it every year, most likely.
Next movie. About Time.
Oh. 2013 rom-com from Richard something. Yeah. Oh, he's actually the director of
Love Actually.
Huh, I didn't know. We were in the mood for some comedy. It doesn't happen a lot. Mary doesn't
I don't
like
love comedy.
I had this on my watch list. About Time. I heard great thing about it in the past.
It's with Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
And who's the actor?
Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall.
So it's a love story.
Yes. It's good. It's a good love story. It's a rom-com. I love rom-com. It's a good one. It gets a bit cheesy at some point, and also I think that it's maybe 20 minutes too long.
Yeah, I agree. And there is a weird aspect to it where the main guy has like a superpower
Yeah.
that his dad
Also have.
gave him. So it's being able to go back in time and change the present. So if he goes back in time, he can change his actions and influence the present, but there are consequences if he does that. So it was kind of fun,
It's
but
interesting.
it got a little bit messy
The third act is a bit rougher and it gets long. Also, it does this thing that I hate, which is, look at this guy over there, that good-looking chaps. That's me. This is my story.
What do you mean?
This is how the movie start. It's like, I was just a boy. Look at this guy over there. That's me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is my story.
It
Gosh.
used to be a thing
It sucks.
in 2010.
I really don't like it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is me. I'm going to tell you my story. Just start the movie. I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
I know you're telling me a story.
It was cute. We had fun. It was cute.
It was cute.
And I was rooting for him because in the first part of the movie, he meets his future wife, but then he goes back in the past to change his actions. And when he had already exchanged his phone number to his future wife, now that didn't occur. So he needs to find a very creative way to re-meet her. So that's cute. It was cute. You know, he's in, it was love at first sight.
And
so
he's goofy. He's a goofy guy, so it makes it really funny.
And I enjoyed the first part of the movie, but yeah, it was a little bit too long. It was how would kitten. It was very kitsch.
Cheesy.
Chicken cheesy.
Cheesy.
It was cheesy. Would you burn it?
I think I would save it if you like. It's above average romantic comedy, but nowadays, and this is from
Nowadays.
this is from 10 this is from 10 years ago. So
yeah.
Nowadays, rom-coms, average rom-com sucks. It's like a 2 or 1.5 out of 5. So to find a good one is really rare. In the early 2000s, we were peak golden era rom-com.
I'm not good with the rom-com. Is like P.S. I Love You a rom-com?
I never.
It's very sad. Probably just romantic.
It's kind of like is La La Land a rom-com? Kind of.
Yes. Oh, what a great movie.
It's sad.
I cried.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
It's good. It's tough to get through the first scene if you don't like musical. The first scene on the highway is
but now I
tough to get into.
I listen to the soundtrack a lot. It's good. I agree with you. It's about time. I would save it. It's a 3 stars for me.
It's a 3.5 for me.
Okay. I think it would be cute to watch during the holidays.
But it doesn't happen during the holidays.
I know, but it's kind of cozy and has a good vibe. It's
it has
cute.
Good vibes. Yeah.
You know the Kate Moss when he goes to the museum?
Oh, that's gold.
That's so
funny.
cute. You should watch it.
It's a good movie. The next movie
Yeah.
we watch is A League of Their Own.
1992.
Penny Marshall, the director of Big... And actually, I read that she was the first woman director to have a 100 million domestic box office.
Wow.
With the movie Big with Tom Hanks, which I think released 4 years before League of Their Own.
So A League of Their Own.
Yeah, it's based kind of loosely on a true story. When World War II happened, all the men went to war, including MLB player, which means there was no baseball. So a lot of the owner were trying to figure out a way, how can we still have baseball for people, make money? So they decided to do an all-female league. And this happened for real. The character within the story, I don't think are real. I think they are fictionalized or loosely based on someone. I never watched it before. Was it your first time as well?
First time as well. And I must say, I played softball for 5 or 6 years, and I love softball. I love baseball. And I was really happy to discover that movie where women are playing baseball and having a blast, you know? I loved it. I loved that movie. What a great entertainment.
Aged pretty well for a 30-year-old movie.
I
think
agree.
the only thing is that Tom Hanks is like the most character.
Oh, yeah. So cliche.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Cliche. Yeah.
Well, at first.
He represents like all the men for the movie in a way.
Yes.
He's like an asshole. There's a long pee joke that goes on way too long, but it was kind of the humor of the time. But overall, I thought it was really good. There's even like a lot of woman kind of humor that is really funny, and they go far.
Can we talk about the fact that Madonna plays in this movie?
Crazy.
She must have been maybe 20 years old.
Yeah.
There's also Rosie O'Donnell in that movie. And the main woman, what's her name?
Gina Davis? Is that her? Yeah.
Is that her?
Yeah.
She is so gorgeous. And she plays ball. She's so good. She's so pretty.
She got the strongest jawline I've ever seen.
She's so pretty.
The best moment of the movie, though.
Yes.
When that stupid kids get thrown a 1940 baseball mitt, not today's baseball mitt. The 1941s that must have been the weight of a bowling ball.
Because he's
in
annoying.
The face.
Because he's super annoying.
Best part of the movie. Also, Hans Zimmer composed the music for this movie.
Yeah.
It's not the Dark Knight,
No.
but it's a pretty good score.
It's a very feminist movie for 1992, and the director's a woman. I mean, it's a really good movie. I would definitely save it, and I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Agreed. 3.5 out of 5 for me as well. It's a save. I think it's a great baseball movie. Even like it's definitely not Moneyball, but it's
Come on.
it's a good baseball movie. Like it's pretty accurate in terms of like watching baseball game. It's not like those movie where a dog play baseball or something.
I haven't seen those.
I
couldn't tell you.
The dog that played basketball.
Skip? No.
It's not Skip. I don't remember.
I just want to say, I was shocked because when they get recruited, they get shown their uniform.
Oh yeah, that's
and
so
it's
good.
a dress, like a cheerleader dress. And Madonna's like, I'm not playing in this. And then finally they don't have a choice, but they have like a pair of short under. But it's just so stupid. Like, who would wear a dress to play ball?
It's like, am I supposed to slide in that?
They do, though. They do, and they have shorts under. But I really enjoyed my time watching that movie. It was
Great
fun.
Film. Great
really
film.
good.
Next
movie.
One. The Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah. Was it your first time?
No. I've seen this film maybe 4 or 5 times.
Me too.
Great.
1998, directed by Joel Cohen.
I think it's technically the Coen brother, but
yeah. So there's the dude, his friend, the army, the veteran guy. He's fucking crazy. I didn't remember how crazy he was. Shut up, Donnie. How many
Walter.
times?
What's his name?
Walter?
Yeah.
I didn't remember how crazy he was and how much of a mess he is and how the story gets such... Like, it gets so messy because of him.
Not just because of him.
No.
I love that it's all about a guy that wants his
carpet
rug
back.
Yeah. It really tied the room together.
I keep saying that.
And what I love this might be the most quotable movie of all time. Like, I was writing quotes as they were happening, and it's just...
Go for it.
There's too many of them. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion,
Oh
man.
my God, that's so good.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. My friend, you're entering a world of pain. A world of pain.
All the characters are really not cliche, but
Fleshed
they're...
out.
Yes. So also, can we talk about Jesus, the guy who plays
Jesus.
bowling in like a suit?
Licking his balls. Oops, that sounds weird.
Licking his ball. It's such a crazy movie, right? And Julianne Moore even plays in that movie. She's pretty... That scene where the dude goes to... And he's always drinking... What's the
White
drink?
Russians.
I don't know how many he drinks in that movie, but he goes to meet her and his friend is there. And the moment where they're both laughing and he's like... What's happening? It's just such a fun movie. So funny.
It's the perfect example of like nothing makes sense, but everything works together.
Yeah.
Also, I want to point out
Yes.
that the Big Lebowski poster is terrible.
It's real bad. What is it happening in heaven, in hell, in a dream?
I think it is in the movie, this specific scene where they playing bowling
That's
in
the
his dream.
sexual part I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rewatch it.
It's just such a bad poster.
It is. It's real bad. I like the floor though.
The
It's a checked floor.
It's we can barely see it.
Oh my god. I'm saving The Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars.
I think I'm also giving it a 4 out of 5, and it's definitely a save. I bought it. It's the biggest commitment or the best tell that it's a great film is if we decide to buy it.
I agree.
The next film
Yes.
is December, the new Todd Haynes movie. This is not technically released yet. It will release tomorrow for most of you, December 1st on Netflix. And I didn't see this movie.
But I did.
Tell us about
I
it.
got to see it this week with my brother at cinema near my place. And I am still thinking about this movie. Okay, so first of all, December is a story of Julianne Moore. There is an actress played by Natalie Portman who goes to her home to kind of study how she acts in her normal life because she's playing a role about her in a movie. So it's kind of Inception a little bit. And she finds out that Julianne Moore met her actual husband, with who she has 3 kids, when he was only 13 years old, and is actually on a list of sex offenders.
She went to jail, did she?
Yes. So that's kind of, well, that's the story. First of all, I must say, Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman are so good. It's crazy. They're so pretty as well. I have to say it. I want to be Julianne Moore when I grow old. She was so pretty.
Do you think they have a chance at the Oscar?
I do. Oh, yeah. For
Better
sure.
than Lily Gladstone in Killer of the Flower Moon?
It's different. Lily is great too, but Julianne Moore is exceptional in that movie. Both are crazy. Their performance still haunt me. So it's a very weird story where you kind of question yourself, what's right, what's wrong, what is real. Have you read a little bit about it? Because you were disappointed not coming with me. So have you read about it?
I wanted to go. I did read the synopsis. I think you explained kind of what I know about it. She went to jail. She came out of jail. They married. And now
they have 3 children.
And Portman is an actress that will play Julianne Moore in a movie or something.
Yes.
That's all I know.
And it's so funny because you hear about that movie throughout the movie and it's super funny because so Natalie Portman is kind of obsessed with Julianne Moore and wanting to interpret her role the best way possible. So there are scenes where they're both in front of the mirror and she's trying to understand how Julianne Moore puts on her makeup. And so she shows her which foundation she used, how she applies her blush, and she even does it to her. So it's a very intimate moment where you're kind of like, at a certain point, I was like, are they gonna kiss? It's super like weird how I felt.
Is it like unsettling where like it feels creepy but you don't know why?
Yeah, and Natalie Portman gets scarier and scarier. And in the very end, and I'm not going to spoil anything here, but you actually see her play the role of Julianne Moore in the movie. We heard throughout the whole movie, and it is so weird. The final scene is so weird, and I was like, okay, now like it's a good movie. I would definitely save that movie, and I would give it I'm still hesitating, but I think I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. It's really good. There are a few scenes when I was like, okay, this to me is unnecessary. And the role played by the guy, at first I really liked, and then there's a turning point. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit cheesy, but he has mummy issues, so I guess that explains that. But I can't wait for you to see it, and so we can talk about it.
I really want to see it.
It's really rare that I see a movie and you haven't seen it.
We watch all our movie at the same time normally, so
And-
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it next week.
And it really got me, questioning, because it's okay. I can't spoil anything, so I think I'm going to stop here. But there's one scene also when Julianne Moore puts her lipstick on Natalie Portman. I'm still trying to find out what shade it is and what brand it is. Anyways, it's a really good movie, and I would want to rewatch it. So once it releases, I'm going to watch it with you.
December 1st on Netflix.
It's time for Dan.
Yes, it's time for them. Before we jump into Napoleon and our spotlight movie, which is Gladiator.
Let's go.
This week, the movie we're reviewing is Kickboxer, which came out in 1989 with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Nice.
Oh.
The quick synopsis here is that Jean-Claude Van Damme's brother is an American kickboxer who flies to Thailand to fight the top fighter there, and immediately loses and becomes paralyzed. Jean-Claude Van Damme, rightfully so, avenges to kill or beat up this Thai fighter who now has paralyzed his brother, and recruits this local hero who is the Master Roshi of Dragon Ball Z, who trains him to become the best using extremely unique techniques like some kind of weird torture system where they tie your legs to ropes and they're using a pulley system to allow you to become more flexible. So with torture, he's become this new fighter that somehow learned all the skills in the span of 1 year. There's some awkward dance scenes where he's trying to get him to dance at a bar and do some disco, gets him extremely drunk and dances with these local Thai women. And then his master tells all these people that he's trying to steal your lady. But if you see a man as tan as Jean-Claude Van Damme with muscles rippling and thighs the size of freaking watermelons and grapefruits and all the melons together, you do not mess with that. You allow it to happen, and you talk about it when you get home. Some extremely cringe moments, some absolutely terrible acting. I legitimately thought it was a dubbed film for the first 45 minutes, then realizing it's just such terrible acting, I thought it was filmed in a different language. It just awkward acting, some weird romance in the forest.
The forest?
So some weird, terrible plots. Like, if this guy, Tung Pao, is the best fighter in the world, why do you need the mafia involved to do terrible things to Jean-Claude Van Damme's romantic love interest, as well as kidnapping his brother, saying that if you don't last a couple rounds, we're gonna kill him? It makes absolutely no sense. All in all, this movie, cringe, terrible acting, fun fights, super weird, 3 out of 10 stars.
3 out. Oh my god, that's so low.
I thought he was going to say 3 out of 5. So what's the
Torture
name of
device.
the movie?
Kick something.
Kickboxer?
Yeah, Kickboxer.
Kickboxer.
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
1989. So I heard of
Oh,
this.
the poster though.
So this is kind of like the 80s. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, you don't need to really know how to talk English to be a movie star. You just need to be a big guy. I heard of this movie, never heard how wild this is. The fact that they trained for only 1 year, that his brother get paralyzed. That's like the story of how he wants to get revenge. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know if we're gonna watch this movie.
No, the love in the forest thing really
Oh,
scared
boy.
me. I feel like
Yeah.
he's about to have sex with like
A tree.
a tree from the Green Knight. 1 year ends. This is like a retelling of the Green Knight.
Thank you, Dan. We won't be watching the Kickboxer.
I'm curious now.
Oh, no.
How long is it? It's 97 minutes.
Oh,
That's a big plus.
that's a lot.
big plus.
That's long.
Let's talk now about Our spotlight movie, another Ridley Scott film with Joaquin Phoenix. Obviously, we had no choice. When we knew that Napoleon was coming out and we wanted to pick a movie to watch before, it was, without any hesitation, Gladiator.
What a movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time by Ridley Scott in 2000 with Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. I love that movie. What a great movie.
And I have to say, it had been about maybe 10 years since I saw it last. And I remember it being good, but I was really enthralled. It was exciting. I didn't remember where the story was going, like in details. So I was still very surprised by a few of the kind of mini twists. Well, one thing that I wish is that there was more Russell Crowe versus Joaquin Phoenix. It feels like it's kind of like in the last hour or so. I feel like there could have been a bit more.
Well, to me, it made sense that it was only in the last scene, really, because he defeated the emperor. So, of course, that was his ultimate goal, to get a fight with him, to get to kill him. So there are many steps before he gets to him. I really love the fact that he was a general, a great general, loved by everyone. And he becomes a slave when Marcus Aurelius dies. And he becomes a slave, and rapidly he's with the other gladiators, and he kind of redoes the troop thing, the troop strategy, and the whole
he has an advantage. He knows all this fight, like combat
strategy,
and
he redoes that with the other gladiators, which are slaves, and immediately the others look up to him. And I like the vengeance and the rebellion. Oh my god, it's such a good movie. And okay, when he screams to the crowd, "Are you not entertained?" Gosh, I can feel it in my whole body. I can feel it in my whole body. Oh, it's so good.
There's one thing that this movie did that I didn't like.
Oh no.
It happens too often. And it's Jules Caesar is, after the first kind of combat war that they just finished, call him to his tent. And he's basically telling him that he's about to die, and it's time to find someone to take over Rome and give Rome back to the people. And he obviously explained this huge task, and he wants Russell Crowe to be the person doing this. So Russell Crowe is like,
instead of his own son.
Yeah, and Russell Crowe is like, I'm gonna need some time to think about it, obviously. And he's like, sure, tell me before sunset. It's like, here's 6 hours to figure out if you want to lead the biggest empire the world has ever known, and come back to me, or it's gonna be too late. Like, I can't.
Well,
give me a week, dude. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but I think I agree, but I think it's because he knew how sick he was, and he wanted to announce it to his own son, and he knew the deception that was gonna happen. But I agree with you; it's kind of silly. The combat scenes are real good.
Yeah.
You know, when they say to him, so our best ever fighter has come back from his retirement or whatever, and he has like this silver mask, and I would shit my pants if I would be in that arena. And Russell Crowe, he's so good. Oh my god, I love him. He's
great.
So good. I love that movie.
It's great.
Oh my god, I love it.
And Russell Crowe's the perfect guy. He was in top shape.
Oh yeah.
He looked the part. And what I love too, like you said, the guy coming out of retirement fight was great. The tiger fight, was it the same one?
Yes.
The tiger element was great. I think also the final fight with Joaquin Phoenix, him dressed in all white, just looks so cool.
And can we talk about him he is such an asshole.
What a fucking baby.
Yeah, but what a fucking asshole. He even asks his sister to make him a son.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Perfect.
I hate him so much in that movie, but he's great in that performance. And that performance kind of started his career. So the scene where he goes back home and finds his wife and his son,
Hanged.
yes, murdered. And that scene where Joaquin Phoenix said when they killed your son, he cried like a girl. And
Yeah.
when they ravaged your wife,
woman.
it makes me so angry. And I can feel his pain. He is so good in that movie.
And Russell Crowe played this very well.
Yes.
We wanted like a restrained, like hurt, but understanding that there's a bigger game that is played here.
Yes.
So he can't go after, the emperor. And another thing that I like about this movie is that it's kind of like a comment on society. It's funny that Russell Crowe is the best gladiator they ever seen, in a way, and his master, or the guy that owned him, technically
Was
tell
a
him-
gladiator.
But he also tell him like it's not about being the best. The crowd has
Win
to
the
love
crowd.
you. And Joaquin Phoenix on his side is also doing everything he can to get the crowd to love him. So there's this weird kind of like, even through the dictatorship that Joaquin Phoenix kind of hold over Rome, and the fact that he's a slave, the public is still the decision
They
maker.
decide. Yes.
And Joaquin Phoenix is so like, it's craving
Love.
Yeah, it's craving love and approval from Rome, that he actually keep giving chances to Russell Crowe that will end up kind of costing him everything.
But it always end up where the crowd, Russell Crowe, they love him.
Yeah.
They love him.
And they hate Joaquin
And
Maximus.
Even
Not Maximus.
in the end, when Joaquin goes to talk to Russell Crowe before the final fight, he stabs him
Yeah.
in the side. And that is the only reason why he dies. And still manages to do the fight and kill him with his own.
Yeah. And I love that they kill Maximus.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't love that, but
But,
I think it was a way to end that movie in the right way, because he goes to meet his wife and his son. It's a touching movie. I cried a bit. It moves me a lot. I absolutely love that movie. I would save that movie and give it a 4.5.
I
out of
agree.
5.
4.5, save. Great film. I know it's one of your favorite of all time. For me, it's probably in the top 100. I mean, like, there's so many great movies. I love Gladiator.
And and I feel that for a 23-year-old movie, it really, really aged well. And I have to say that there is one specific scene. I think Ridley Scott had fun recreating one specific moment in Napoleon where, do you know what scene I'm talking about? He's kind of so in Gladiator, he's kind of overlooking the battlefield where the enemy is coming. And in the first few scenes of Napoleon, we see that as well. So it was kind of a little clin d'oeil.
Nice. A little wink, wink.
Yep.
So let's talk about
Napoleon.
the new Ridley Scott movie with Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon Bonaparte.
I had a lot of expectations.
Yes.
And we
Where'd
were
you start?
we were both disappointed.
What a fucking mess it was.
Yes. I must say I didn't love Joaquin
Let's start there.
in this performance. It was
I don't want to say it was miscast, because at first, the first 15 minutes, I was like, this doesn't work. He's the wrong guy.
me too.
But as it went, it got a bit better. But even then, the performance he didn't try very hard. It seems like he was just him.
I don't agree with you though. I think maybe he was
But you love Joaquin.
I love him, yes, but I think he has shown many times what a great actor he is, and so what Bo, what is this?
What?
Bo is Afraid sucks. Is
It's
that
my water
you?
mug. It's my mug.
I didn't see this. Wow. What a fucker. You ordered this online? Wow, I'm not going to drink out of that. So, yes, as I was saying, I feel that Joaquin, get over it. It's a good movie. Joaquin has shown many times that he is a great actor. I loved him in The Joker. He was amazing. And so I think they
But that's
maybe...
not what we're talking about.
No, but because you're saying that he was himself and he didn't play the role well. I think the script didn't give him... Like, he even said he didn't
disagree.
know how to interpret Napoleon at
Yeah,
first.
he didn't know how to play him. But regardless, bad script, good script, he didn't feel like he could care. You feel like... I know there's... So a great example is The Killer. You have a character that has no emotion. He doesn't show emotion. Even his wife get almost killed. No emotion. Always cold face. But there's a little thing that Michael Fassbender is doing to communicate in this situation what's happening and how the character is feeling. Not through like overacting, but
Well,
small detail. I feel like this movie, Joaquin Phoenix is very plain. He's not doing much, but it's not because your character... And he has a lot of room because they depict Napoleon as this weirdo, kind of like with mommy issue. At some point, he's like, he goes into a bedroom where his wife is, and he's like... He's doing like
the
a horse impression because he wants to have sex. Like, he has a lot of room to like act, and I feel like it's not that it was bad, but he didn't show up. I feel like it was, he just cashed it in. He didn't really try that hard.
Well, I don't agree with didn't try that hard because I know what he can do and how
Yeah.
great of an actor he is.
Doesn't
Maybe
mean-
it wasn't the role for him. Maybe it wasn't talking to him and he accepted it and maybe he shouldn't have. So that's that. And overall, to me, it was very long.
I didn't mind the length. I think it actually needed to be longer to do justice to Napoleon's story.
Yeah,
I feel like
because now we heard, you told me a few days ago
there's
that...
a 4-hour cut.
Yes, first, but also there are many historians that are,
Mad.
mad because there are many mistakes in the movie, and
And
Ridley
Russell Crowe
Scott
doesn't give it... Oh, sorry.
is just saying, well, they can get a life, and to me that's not okay,
Yeah, I don't
and it
like
got
that.
me questioning his intentions with that movie, because if you're gonna tell a story like that one where it's historical, there are facts that need to be told, and it's really important, so I'm like, well then what's the point? Because what are the do you know what major mistakes are being told?
Well,
is it about the timeline?
I think the timeline is correct. I think, and that's the thing, right? You can do a movie about Napoleon and not follow accurately his story, but it shouldn't.
What do you mean?
Well, if
you mean
want,
you can suppress certain parts of the timeline, like you just don't address them. Is that what you mean?
If you do an historical epic and the goal, it's called Napoleon, it's framed that it's trying to tell a story, then it need to be accurate to me.
Yeah.
If you want to do a loosely based, let's just have fun, and it's
Or
maybe,
if it was their love story between him and Josephine, more personal,
Yeah.
then it would have been very different.
and I think that a lot of the things that people believe are not accurate, and I don't know enough, but like if historians are telling it's incorrect, I believe
Yeah,
them.
me too.
Is the relationship and how him and Josephine were together, and also just his general kind of approach with certain character, or the way he dealt with things, or even the framing of certain war or action are not put in place. So it seems like maybe Napoleon took a decision because he was mad or he felt insulted, but it was very much not that. So I think they rewrote, and that's the problem, right? When you have a big movie like that with big actor, with big names, and there's not a lot of Napoleon movie getting made, a lot of people will take what's in those movies as face value, and then that means that the true story is getting put aside for fictionalized entertainment, and
That's a problem.
that's fine, but you have to convey to the audience, this is not the goal to tell you the story of Napoleon. The goal is to have fun, right?
But that's not what
No.
was told. Also, so we talked about the different battles in the movie.
I think the battles are actually well
I
done.
agree. They're very exciting, very pretty. I thought though and you agreed with that some of them seemed a little bit dated.
Yeah.
With the slow-mo effect. There's one scene in particular we had seen a lot in the previews where one guy says, "Oh my God, this is ice," and then all the men start falling in the slow-mo with the classic music. To me, that was a little bit dated, but overall, it was
a cool
exciting.
moment,
It was
but
cool.
the number of times they go back to the same shot in slow motion of people going through the ice was a bit much. And I think the dated aspect for me is that the color grading of like super desaturated bluish gray feels like 300, like early 2000 war and like spy movie. I didn't like the look. I feel like it could have been more vibrant. Some of those scenes or sequences, like the crowning,
Oh
was
my
beautiful.
God, that was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was a Renaissance painting.
It was accurate.
Stunning, and it was beautiful. But his little speech when he puts the crown on his head, to me, that was,
The performance was bad.
yes, but also that's not what happened. The
No,
historians are saying that's not what he said. So
that's the thing, right?
that's a problem.
But and this is kind of like the same issue I think people had with House of Gucci, is that this is a true story.
We didn't see that movie.
Not yet. I heard it's bad.
Yeah, me too.
But this is a true story.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting story already. But I think Ridley Scott, for both those movies, The House of Gucci and Napoleon, is infusing a lot of class or aristocrat kind of commentary where he wants to make fun of rich people a little bit. I think House Gucci had some of that. And you can see it in there too, where I think he even said it himself in an interview that it's good to have fun at the expense of the aristocrat and how silly it look now. And I agree that it's a good thing to be able to look back and poke fun, but I don't think it's okay to rewrite history to do it.
No, and it's not the right type of movie to do it.
I agree.
You know? I thought Josephine, played by Vanessa
Kirby.
she was good.
Yeah.
I liked her performance.
Me too.
And I wish, because she's very present in the first part of the movie.
Yep.
And then, he gets a divorce because they can't have a child. So we don't see her anymore. And we just learn that she dies. So I wish maybe there would have been more of her.
Yeah.
I liked her performance. I think she was great.
The thing is that she's such an important part of the story because she's driving a lot of the action that Napoleon is taking in this story. I don't know how accurate all of this is.
I think
Yeah.
she was very, very important.
And he's in love, or at least manipulated to be in love with her in a way.
It's a toxic relationship.
But that's the way it's depicted. I don't know if that's true. But
I think it was from what I read, but
it feels for such a main character that was a driven force of the first 2 hours. It's weird to like push her. And it happens with a lot of character. Napoleon's brother just eventually just disappear, where we don't see him anymore. A bunch of other characters, the same thing. And the other thing that I want to talk about, which we didn't like, was, I don't know how accurate this is, but the horse death
Oh my god. Oh my god.
in the first maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, even
Where
15.
Napoleon is riding a horse and a cannonball hit the chest of a horse, and on screen we see the chest explode of the horse. They fall to the ground, and Napoleon keep fighting. He comes back later, take the cannonball out of his horse. It seems like he care about the horse the way it's depicted, and then he just throw the cannonball to someone and says, "Give that to mother." To me, it was unnecessary to show something so graphic with an animal, because even the human death are not as graphic.
I agree.
There's a few deaths that are graphic from human, like when they shoot the population, when there's a revolution in the middle of the street, they shoot cannon at people. You see people die, they don't
Well-
shy away. But the horse was like extremely graphic.
It was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even Marie Antoinette at the beginning of the movie was unnecessary
And
for
it-
me. The head after they're holding her head.
But that's a big point of the story.
I know.
That's true. Like,
It's-
that's
yeah.
verified. So, yes, it's uncomfortable, but at the same time, at least it's historical, and
Yeah.
it does matter to the story. Not specifically holding the head, but like her death is the last big event
Yes, but-
towards Napoleon rise to power.
We could have cut away without them showing the head.
yeah.
But the horse thing is one of the first thing I mentioned to you when we got out of the room. I said that was completely useless.
It felt out of place for that type of movie.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I was shocked too.
Like, I knew I would see people die, but normally it's not gory. When
No.
an historical epic is focused on the fact and what happened and what it matter, they don't normally dwell on gore and blood.
The music, was there something about the music? I was kind of forgettable. I don't even remember. Well,
Lots of
there's a lot of
classical
classic
piece.
music. Yeah.
It feels appropriate,
It
but
was
nothing
okay.
great.
Yeah.
I am curious. I think I will watch the 4-hour cut.
I think maybe because you mentioned that you thought it would be maybe more interesting to have more detail because it's
More
such
context.
a big story, because it's about 30 years, 35 years. And there's a lot of moment where we felt there would jump in times that were too big.
Yeah, 15 years in like 10 minutes.
Right. So maybe the director's cut will be more interesting.
Hopefully the extra hour and a half is not about him and Josephine being weirdos, but more about historical context, placing moment in time with the right character, explaining maybe the historical aspect a bit more. But to me, even if the movie, like the 4-hour cut, is extremely better, it doesn't take away the fact that he decided what was the 2.5-hour movie that went to theater that everybody's gonna watch. Not a lot of people will watch the 4-hour cut.
I agree.
So to me, you can't undo that.
Yeah.
You made the decision what you want to prioritize, and that's what I'm judging you on. If the 4-hour cut is better, great. Still doesn't change my mind. And it seriously, like, looking back at the last few Ridley Scott film, it's kind of feeling where, yes, he did some very huge, important movie, Gladiator, Aliens, but his last few films were disappointing. And there's such thing that someone that has worked at such a high level, we stop thinking about, are they still doing good work now?
I totally agree with you.
Robert De Niro is a good example where he was so iconic for 20 years and then he did shit.
Yeah.
Comedy movie for 20, and then he's slowly coming back to good film with The Irishman.
Thank God
Killer
he
of
did
the Flower
Killer
Moon.
of the Flower Moon. Yeah.
But yeah,
To me, also, his response to historians
Yeah.
not being happy I'm like,
I don't like that.
no, me neither.
Take
You
it
have a
seriously.
responsibility when you tell a story like that one.
And it's like,
So-
you want me to take your movie seriously? Then take it seriously yourself. Then just tell us, hey, I know it's not accurate. That we didn't want to be, put into this box where we had to stay accurate because we want to tell the best story possible. Not, fuck you, get a life historian. Like, you can explain
That's
away
so
if
rude.
that's the goal.
And yesterday we were talking about this, and you mentioned how Martin Scorsese with Killer of the Flower Moon took the time to meet,
With the native,
right, and sit
nation,
down
yeah.
with Leo, because Leo was saying this movie is not only about me; it is about Native people. So we need to make this right. He really cared. So that makes me really, really doubt his intentions and the angle he took with that movie. So I honestly am going to burn this movie.
I'm going to join you. It's going to be a burn for me. I
It's
think
good.
it's not worth watching.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's I will give it a 3 out of 5, but I will burn it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between 2.5 and 3.
Same.
Some of the big thing is I think the war sequence are well done, and they
I
were
agree.
exciting and they were interesting, and the historical, like, I was interested in that because I like the historical aspect of those, and we were away from the commentary on like the classes, which I didn't love as much here. I think it could be done better. So it's probably a 3. A 2.5, it's right there.
I wasn't expecting such a passive character.
Yeah.
I had heard that he was kind of a little bit silly and he had mummy issues, but
Mummy issues? You mean like in Egypt when he...
such a good joke. Oh, boy.
You have to see the movie.
Well, people that saw it, you're gonna get it. But it's as if he made no decision ever.
you mean
It was
Napoleon,
everything
right?
happening. This cup is gonna have to go.
You mean Napoleon?
Yes,
A lot of the
as
things
if
seems to just
everything
happen
happened
to
to
him.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get lucky. And it,
Except when he asks for the divorce and he slaps Josephine in the face. I'm like, what?
but he has no choice.
I know, because he wants a son to have her.
But he even said, he goes to like some of his dudes and he's like, hey, dude, what
the
if...
guy from the Big Lebowski.
It's like, what if we take the baby that I just put into this 19-year-old girl and say that it's my wife that had it? And it was like, are you asking me to lie? And it's like, yeah. I was like, oh, if you ask me to lie, I'm supposed to do what you tell me, but I won't lie about that, which means nothing. But he tried to still get his way with her, but he was forced. And I think he get mad when they're about to divorce and slap her. And he's like, just do it for your country.
Yeah.
Because he's
That's not what he
unhappy.
wants.
No, he's
no,
unhappy.
he loves her. But
They want to get it done with because it's hurting him.
yeah, but overall, I wasn't expecting such a passive Napoleon.
Yeah. One thing that I liked is that maybe one of the goal was to deconstruct maybe a little bit of this idea that Napoleon was such a great general. The movie show him kind of falling into victories a few times. He was very good at war strategy, and you can see that especially in the ice lake war scene. Some other time it seems like he just get lucky, but at the end of the film they list how many people have died in every battle he was in, and to me that was kind of like, look how bad he was at war. We have this idea that he was so great, but really he just had the big army and a lot of people die, and that's how he became the winner, not by being super smart and saving life, but by just having the biggest army and being willing for as much as needed to die.
And I think that's why Gladiator, people were more Gladiator. People were more Clément, Maximus le Clément. They were more understanding because yes, gladiators existed, Jules Caesar, but it's
not based on real people.
Right. That's
Directly.
Exactly. So maybe Ridley Scott should have left Napoleon, because you told me, and I didn't know, that at first it was Stanley Kubrick who's supposed to do that movie.
Well, not this one, but Stanley Kubrick
was working
for like 16 years or something on a Napoleon movie, but he was so
crazy
obsessed with all the detail being right. He had fabrics and books, and he had an entire room in his mansion. It would have been like a 6-hour epic, and I think he just either passed away or gave up on it. But yeah, he wanted to do one.
But I think he would have been great.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll
I was
never
about,
know.
I was about to say we'll see.
find out.
Stanley Kubrick's gonna come back. You know.
I wish. Anyways, so that's that for Napoleon.
Yes,
I
Napoleon.
was disappointed.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Go watch or listen to our last episode if you haven't seen it yet. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We post also reviews from all those movies or most of those movies, so you can have a quick idea of what we think.
Thanks so much for listening and watching. We have a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, and the next movie, we're not going to say what it is, but it is a international Korean film. Very excited to go see that in the next 2 weeks. And we are slowly working towards porting.
Oh my God, I can't wait for that movie.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a great day.
And girls. Bye.